Scott Lay, Nevada County Superintendent of Schools. Today's show is all about the Latino Family Outreach Center that serves our schools, students, and staff here in Western Nevada County. My guest, who I'm excited to be with me today, is Rocio Zhukov. Rocio, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much for having me, Scott. It's good to be here.
Glad you could be here on this rather cold day and make it out to the studio for us. Let's just jump right into it with your title and your job description. What is it that you do at the Latino Outreach Program? Well, as a matter of fact, you are the Latino Outreach Program. Yes.
They call me the Latino Outreach Coordinator, but I'm actually the only one that.
So you coordinate yourself.
I coordinate myself in my
good.
time.
That's good.
So and we use the term promotora, which is something that's familiar, in other counties. That's what they call the people that do the outreach to the Latino community. So I work with, the Latino families in Nevada County. I have an opportunity to work with anybody who has a need for interpreting, if they have appointments. I also offer programs that are specific to mental health and wellness. And we also offer an exercise program that's Zumba-like. We call it Rhythms, Ritmos. Wow. And we get to do that for the ladies in the area because that's an area that they a lot of times don't get very much attention. Mm-hmm. So it's a time they can have just a few minutes carved out for themselves once a week. We have a lot of things going on constantly, but I really hope our program will grow and that we'll have more people to work with me in this.
Right. Well, good. And we'll talk more about each one of those areas as we go on. And I know you work a lot with partner agencies in Nevada County and to make sure we get our Latino families the services that they need and to help them be successful here in our county. Now, where is your office? Where I know you're out and about a lot of places in Nevada County helping, but specifically, where are you located?
Our office is located in downtown Grass Valley at the Partners Family Resource Center. We're on South Auburn Street, and we actually are right on the same campus as Grass Valley Charter School.
Okay. Right there, the old Hennessy campus.
The old Hennessy
And I think you're in the building just to the right of it, if I remember correctly, as you're looking at the Hennessy campus.
Yes.
Sitting there, on there. Now, you're talking about what you do. You serve the students, parents, huge. That's big, with, they say, some translation, making sure that they know about services. And then I know a little bit with staff also, helping educate them to what is available and how they can help their students. So kind of talking a little more in depth about the student programs that you offer. So let's say a family walks in to the Family Resource Center and they're looking for translation services to programs. That's what you do.
Here I am. Yeah. Absolutely. I actually work with a lot of the departments, even in the school system, with special ed. Sometimes they need somebody to interpret for actual meetings when they have IEPs. Sometimes they need things translated, and if I have time to do that, I will do that. Right. Also, just communicating between parents and teachers and parents. Big, yeah. So that a lot of times is, if the vocabulary isn't there, sometimes parents, even if they speak a little bit of English, they don't quite grasp what's being communicated. So, and then we also I love to go into the school and provide wellness programs, just like, especially during COVID, that created a lot of problems for our students. So we're looking for the opportunity to be able to go in and spend time with the kids and help them to learn how to develop some wellness tools for themselves. Right. So we do that kind of thing. Also at the center, we have a tutoring program available. And we actually have a really long waiting list now because there's so many people that are finding out about us. And because of COVID and a lot of kids not being in school, they need a lot more assistance and tutoring.
Trying to get them back into working on getting kids back into school and mental health with that.
Yes.
And you brought up a really good point just a minute ago about COVID. That COVID was hard enough if English was your first language. Yes. But when English was your second language and you're not a native speaker of it, to try to understand the ever-changing rules and regulations that we had with COVID and how is it spread and what do we need to do and how do you set up distance learning and was there translation services on the computer that you were getting?
Exactly.
All those things. So I imagine that was huge.
There was a lot of difficulty with that. Amazingly, the parents did quite well. The schools were able to provide, because a lot of them didn't have internet services.
Right.
So that trying to find a way, okay, where can I go and connect? How can my child get the services they need? But they were able to get the low-cost internet services. So they were able to do that. I think a lot of it was that the parents didn't have the ability or the technology skills to be able to figure it out. So a lot of the kids, I think, did fall behind, not just the Latino families, but all of the kids. And I'm sure you know
we
about
did.
that.
We definitely noticed that. It really kind of opened up the haves and have-nots in our county, and not just for Latino populations, but it was dependent geographically where you were, because the internet and cell phone service is not equal
always
across
available.
Nevada County, and there's some really bad areas still.
Yes.
And then parents working, could there be a parent at home? Did they both have to work? Single parents. So there was a lot of things that came up that we're working on, and you try to, from every bad thing, you try to learn something good from it, and we learned
That's right.
a lot to provide better services for schools. I'm sure you did with your program. And
There was a lot of phone communication, because that's one thing. Most people do have their phones. We tried to do, because we couldn't gather, we had to find ways to make things happen. We'll be having our King's Day, which is an annual celebration that we have. And it's just being able to figure out, okay, so Toys for Tots provides some toys for us, and it's a tradition where the three kings bring gifts.
oh, nice.
And so that's coming up this week, and we have the gifts now, the little toys, but we have to figure out, how do we do this? Now it's easier because we can meet together and
Right.
have a group meeting. Before, we had to figure out, okay, how do we schedule this? We can only have so many minutes for each family, and so it was it was a difficult juggle, but I'm so thankful we're kind of back into more of a routine now.
Yes, it makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Now we can work on remediation and helping bring the kids back up to
up
where
to
we need them
speed.
to be. Yeah. You mentioned wellness programs that you were doing during COVID and continuing on, mental health
Yes.
wellness programs. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit more about what
Yes,
you did and what you're doing now?
I have a little walking group that we do, and it's actually all centered around what we call the Wellness and Recovery Action Plan, where each individual gets to learn what types of things work for them. It's a very individualized program. We can do it in groups, but people start thinking about, what can I do to keep myself well? And what are the things that help me? Because a lot of times these little details we don't think about until somebody says, well, what are you like when you're well? How can you get to that point, and what can you do to keep yourself there when things start breaking down? What can you do to keep that there? And we have it for adults, we have it for teenagers, and we have it for the elementary age as well. A little bit more simplified format, but we all need to develop that wellness toolbox, our very own, that works for us.
And defining first what is well.
Exactly.
Yeah, what was well like before in 2019, and then
it was very different.
Yeah, what is well now, and and what do we need, and keeping track of ourselves.
Keeping track of ourselves. So
absolutely, and our friends.
On top of that, we also wanted to provide a parenting class, which is called Nurturing Parenting, and I offer it in Spanish, and we also offer it in English. And that's something that, a lot of times we don't come knowing. We don't know how to parent.
No, they don't come. Those kids don't come with instructions.
No manuals to look
Nothing.
at.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot of very useful ideas of what things we can do to make our parenting more enjoyable.
Right.
Really, to be able to enjoy our children, and for our children to be able to learn what they need to learn to become citizens, good citizens.
Yeah, productive citizens, and lead a
yes.
healthy life, and absolutely. And I don't know if a lot of our listeners and our viewers know that the Latino population, actually, the largest concentration in Western Nevada County is in the Grass Valley area.
Yes.
And it's our most significant ethnic population in Nevada County by far.
Well, and I think because Nevada County has the east side and the west side, and it's always, I don't know if it's just a myth, but they always said that there were more population over there. But after going through this last census, and because we have Grass Valley, we have Lake of the Pines, and we have Alta Sierra, and all of these locations, all together, we end up having pretty well the same amount. I don't know if it's been growing, but it's about 10% of our population here.
Which is a significant number.
Significant number. And I honestly didn't even know they were here.
Yeah.
Until I was hired on and I realized there's a lot of people that do so many jobs, but they're hidden, they're tucked away, but it helps our whole economy to function well
Absolutely.
and smoothly.
Kind of breaking that down, that's about 1,100 students in our county and on the western slopes that are of Latino descent. Yeah, and just to make sure it's clear, your services are offered on the western side.
Yes.
We don't, a lot of things in education, we don't go over to the eastern side. That's handled by Tahoe Truckee Unified School District and under the Placer County Office of Education.
Oh, interesting.
So we don't do that because they're in 3 separate counties, El Dorado, Placer, and Nevada. In the Truckee area, they reach.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with that, you mentioned you work with partner agencies. What is it that you're helping families with our partner agencies? And
a lot of times it's just making that initial connection.
Okay.
And then because a lot of times there aren't bilingual staff at that place, then I will do the follow through and help not just make the connection, being able to navigate once you're even within that agency, what needs to take place. Like, for example, the courts. The courts are a mystery to me, and I speak English as well. But be able to walk through it with them, be able to go and ask the questions that need to be asked, find out what needs to happen. Another example is Common Goals. There are people that are going through their programs, and they're really working on getting more bilingual staff to be able to work with a Spanish-speaking. But they have very few, so I kind of jump in there and help to make sure these people are successful. That's the whole goal, is to have these agencies be able to reach the people so that people can have more productive lives and be able to be healthy while they're doing that. Another place too is a lot of the medical clinics. That's a big one for me too, helping them schedule appointments and diagnosis, because a lot of times they'll try and call and they don't understand each other. So
so you help.
I help with that, and pretty well anything that comes up. So there's a lot of the agencies that I work with, social services, anything that has to do, child support, anything that has to do with the county, I usually make connections with. Foothill Healthy Babies. They actually do have Spanish-speaking staff, so I'm able to hand them off.
Yes.
That's always really good.
Yeah. There's so many great services we have in Nevada County for all our families, but if you have a language barrier, you're not able to access what's there for you. So that's great that you're able to do that. With you coming to Nevada County, kind of an interesting story how you ended up here in the Grass Valley area in Nevada County. So kind of give us a little background on yourself, where you started off and, how you ended up here.
It's interesting. Thanks for asking, Scott. I was actually working in Western Placer, but living in Nevada County for almost 10 years. And I never knew there was a Latino community until a friend sent me an email and said, hey, there's a job on EdJoin for Latino Outreach. I think you'd do great. I said, what? Latinos in Nevada County? Where?
Even though you'd lived here your whole time.
I had never known.
But wow, it was 10 years.
And I was working there with the Latino community as well, and in the special ed department. So I did a lot of interpreting and translating for them. And then I applied for the job, and I thankfully got it.
Well, and I think, we're all thankful you got the job.
Yeah, I was very excited. And then I started finding out more that, yes, we have quite a community here. And for me, it's a real blessing to be able to use my Spanish. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And to be able to help others that need to learn how to navigate what needs to happen here in order for them to get what they need for them and for their children, whether it be in healthcare, in the education system, whatever it may be that I can help with.
What you can help with, right? And before coming here and working then down in Western Placer, you, if I remember correctly, you had more of an educational background up in the little town of Pike.
Yes.
At the school up there. So I love those stories of our little schools up there. So
yes, that was a wonderful community. We lived there for quite a few years, and unfortunately, eventually they did have to close the school down. But while we were there, it was amazing for my children to be able to be there and to do all of the learning that a small school provides. They had so many wonderful opportunities. And then I actually was blessed to be able to be the school secretary for a few years also. And so it was wonderful being there, working with Debbie Sandoval, and then after that was Rick Martinez, and with all of the staff. It was wonderful.
And probably being at a small school as the secretary gave you a great insight into the connections and what makes students successful, parents, that whole communication piece that now helps you in this job.
Oh, absolutely.
Haven't been there, yeah, because you got to see at small schools, you get to do everything.
I actually got to be in the classroom
you're
quite a
the-
bit.
yeah.
We couldn't always find subs.
You're right,
to
so you have to
come.
go there, you're on lunch duty, you're doing the front. And,
Covering, So it was
whatever it takes.
Learned to just, I got a little headset so I could still answer the phones and still
Right.
and do
Oh,
whatever
well,
I
now-
needed.
Wow.
Because it was a small community. There wasn't a lot of people that could come take care of these things. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
juggled and wore many hats at the same
Yeah,
time.
up there, up in Pike. Yeah, great little school that was up there before.
Absolutely.
Moving through, you this past year, you put on an amazing event, almost single-handedly, the Latino Family Festival, and it was one of those events that I went to, and it just instantly made you feel good. It made you feel proud of being in Nevada County. So why don't you tell our viewers about what was the Latino Family Festival?
Well, Scott, I had this idea because I'd been doing all of this work and I thought, I don't think we're really able to reach enough people to be able to let them know what the services are that are available. So I thought, how can we make something happen where we can have the services and information provided and have the people come? And I thought, a cultural event sounds like fun. People like fun.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's do something where we can have music and we can have some kind of a carnival feel, some events for the kids, and then have a lot of the people that are from our different agencies in the county bring a table with information.
Set up, yeah.
And so we did that. And it was last minute. We only had about a month to plan, and so it was a lot of craziness, but we got it done, and it was very successful. I heard from the agencies as well as from people saying, I never knew they had all of these things available here. And from the agencies saying, this was probably some of our most successful opportunity to be able to communicate with the Latino community. And I'm like, that's what I wanted.
Great. Yeah, and it was at Condon Park.
Condon
Right,
Park.
yeah, right near the entrance, the basketball courts, and I saw the same thing with our agencies, that they were out there and the families were engaging.
Yes.
And the outreach, it was absolutely fantastic.
It was.
To see that.
It was. It was so much fun to be able to be there and to be together and to see everybody smiling.
Yeah.
That was so
that was great.
gratifying because I thought, I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Right, and you brought in a band.
Yes, we had a mariachi playing
Yeah.
music for a couple of hours.
Traditional costumes, if I recall correctly,
Yes.
and amazing dancing.
And then we had the dancers. They have a group that's training the young people. So we had little dancers, we had medium dancers,
Right.
and older
All
dancers.
ages of dancers.
And it was beautiful, all of the traditional dances from Mexico that they were able to share. And it was fun.
Yeah.
It was just a few hours, but it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing in many ways.
I remember watching people who were just walking around Condon Park, were kind of looking over at the thing. They came over as well to participate.
Skate park.
The skate park, yeah. It was
They
just
came over.
They came over, and I guess it was just a fun atmosphere.
It was fun. Everybody enjoyed it.
And that's something you're planning on
One more
keeping
time.
it going.
Well, as long as you're willing to give me the
'cause we
support,
worked on that one.
I'm planning
Absolutely.
it. So.
We'll support from my office, and I know all the agencies want to support it as well.
Oh,
It
yes.
was
So
it was huge.
exciting.
Yeah, just a real feel-good event.
Yes. So be looking for that.
Be looking for that in the fall.
Yes.
Yes.
It was in September.
It was in September. I think it was we got a lucky
Mid-September.
day that there was no smoke.
The one day that there was no
smoke. The day
smoke.
before, there was smoke the day after, and the day of, nothing.
It was beautiful.
It was
for
meant to
that
be.
day. Yes.
Meant to be.
Thank
on there.
goodness.
Well, getting back to your work with the FR, with the Family Resource Center of where you're housed, in the Latino Family Outreach Program, do you know approximately how many families you serve? I mean, we know we've got over 1,000 students, 1,100 in our county, but
It's actually closer to 2,200, Scott.
is it really?
There's a lot of
Then that's over 10.
Latino students. Yes,
That's
we
looking at
have
20.
a large. I think it was Tina was the one that got me some numbers. I think she said we have a large percentage of students that are Latino. So we have a very effective, busy ESL program, or ELD, I guess, English Language Development. And a lot of the young students, we have the dual immersion classes as well. So a lot of them are there learning their English and Spanish. So it's a large group of Spanish-speaking students that we have in our community as well. And the families that I serve, let's see, last year I usually keep my count by individuals, but I would say we had about 250 130 people I served. So I would say there's probably about 150 families that I've served.
Yeah. Which is a lot for one person.
It's a busy time.
Which kind of brings me to my next question. Barriers you see Latino families facing, and then barriers you see, which probably is manpower. But what do you see in terms of our Latino families? What are some of the barriers? The obvious one clearly is language, and not enough Spanish-speaking services in agencies in the county.
So that is a big part of it, is just not being able to understand each other. And another part is, for me, even just coming into the job, was getting to know people so that they would be able to have the trust to be able to communicate. Huge. And so that was something that we really had to work on for the first couple of years that I was here. And then it turns out that the agencies, they're working on it, but they weren't able to help these people because they couldn't understand each other.
Right, so they didn't even know what they needed. But
so that's a huge
big barrier.
Huge.
Absolutely. And what about barriers for you within the program? I would guess that having another person would be nice.
Ooh, at least another person. Yeah. You know, you were talking about the eastern side of the county. They have an incredible program where they have so many wonderful offerings, but they have a lot of people that are able to work with the Latino community. And like I said, our populations are really not that different anymore. And there are other counties there as well. So I'm hoping that eventually we'll be able to have more of a staff here that will be able to do this. Placer County has an incredible program as well. So that's one of my biggest barriers, is just not having enough time.
Only one of you, and I imagine your hours are all over the map, because it would be very hard to work 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 because of the different services and the times you need to perform those.
Yes, and sometimes being able to I just hate to tell people no if there's a crisis situation and whatever. So I try to be really flexible, but there's still only a certain number of hours in the day, and I get tired.
Translating's not easy.
It takes some real focus, but it's good. I love my job, and I look forward to be able to provide more services to help people learn to navigate what there is available, and just having people that are bilingual to be able to communicate that information is a great plus.
Right. Yep. Well, it comes to my last question then, and you've already answered that with like a few more people, but on staff for you, but future plans. So you're looking down the road, besides getting more people and putting on the Latino Family Festival again, what are some other plans you would like to have, or dreams for this program?
Well, I definitely love the cultural events, so we want to definitely be able to continue those, and be able to continue providing the classes that we have. Maybe having a little bit more time to do that, but even having like an English language class, because most of them are during the day. Right,
which can be hard if you're working, you can't participate.
Exactly. So that's something that I would love to be able to provide as an evening English language learning class, and just continue with the programs I have and be able to provide them, and have the parents be able to participate
in that. Because I know even funding for these programs, it's always up in the air.
Yes.
That's what's very frustrating with some of this. There's no dedicated stream of dollars coming from Sacramento or from the feds to fund these very necessary programs to keep everybody engaged and doing the best they can.
Absolutely.
So if any of our viewers out there want to know how to get in touch, so let's say they're saying like, I speak Spanish and I want to help out a little bit, or I have this to offer, or I'd like to learn more about what services I could access. How would they get in touch with you?
Well, they can reach me at the Partners Family Resource Center. We have a website online, and I think they can also find it through the Nevada County Superintendent of Schools,
which is nevco.org.
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 Yes, and so that would be a good way to connect with me. And a lot of people, I get referrals from people that are English speaking that say, listen, I know somebody that needs this, this, and this.
Right.
Perfect. Then they give me the number, and I'm able to connect with them. So that works as well. And if you actually do speak some Spanish or don't, but would like to tutor, we have students that are in need of tutors as well. So whether they be English speaking or Spanish speaking.
That'd be great. Right. So again, if you want to find out more information, go to the Superintendent of Schools website, which is www.nevco.org. FRC.org, and on there you'll see a tab for the Family Resource Center.
Partners Family Resource
Click on that, and it'll take you to contact information.
Yes, and Latino Outreach will be right there.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, Rocio, anything else you want to add?
No.
We kind of covered a lot of the topics here and everything, the great work
Well,
you're doing and how you got here.
2023.
I know, and it's 2023.
It's another year, and I'm looking forward to a good one.
I know, and it keeps getting more normal. Each month we go on.
Yes.
Which is great.
Thank
We want
goodness,
that.
finally.
Yes. Well, Rocio, thank you so much for taking time to come in and be part of this.
Thank you for
program
having
and
me.
letting our viewers know. And again, this is Scott Lay, Nevada County Superintendent of Schools, thanking you very much for listening and viewing today. And our guest was Rocio Zhukov, and it was wonderful to hear about the program.
Thank you, Scott, for having me.
Take care, everyone.